through 2023. Jimmy and Matt, second. All those in favor? Thank you. All right. And, oh, look at us. Moving on to informational items, we have our county clerk, Representative Brooke, Miss, yes? I didn't understand. Oh, nothing to share from our county clerk's office. Thank you. And then we have the County Election Commission, Elizabeth, Miss Elizabeth. Hello. Is your mic on?
Hello?
Yes,
Okay.
better.
So as of 9/5 next week, the 2024 election cycle will be officially underway. You can start circulating petitions. We've got county board even districts, state's attorney, circuit clerk, and coroner for countywide offices, precinct committee people on the ballot next year, and then district 150. Those offices will file within our office. Filing begins on November 27th and goes through December 4th.
Okay.
Also, to let you know, the voter registration mass mailing that is required under the National Voter Registration Act will begin next week. So every registered voter within Peoria County will get a new voter registration card in the mail. This is how we keep our voter rolls up to date, and it is federal law. So there will be a press release that will be going out within the coming days, just trying to educate the public on what to expect with that.
Great.
So that's all that I have.
Great.
Unless you have questions.
Yeah. Any questions for? Okay, I do have one comment or question in regards to, I think I saw something about Judges Open House.
We are, yes. We've been having some election judge open houses for members of the community that are interested in serving as election judges. And so they're just informational meetings where we're allowing people to come in and we're giving them a little presentation, some coffee, some donuts, and trying to get them to commit to signing up to be election judges. So we had one in August. We have another one scheduled in September, and we'll have another one in October. So we had, I believe in the August one, we had maybe 10 to 15 people show up, and everyone but 2 people agreed to work as election judges, so that was great. So we're always trying to recruit more election judges going into especially the presidential election year.
Good, good. Now, is that a result of a public notice, or how did these people get informed?
These are people that have reached out to us to make an application. And so then as a result, we have reached back out to them and said, we're hosting this. This is a chance for you to get all of the information that you need, and you can make an informed decision.
Great, good, good. Any other questions, comments? Thank you.
Thank you.
Good information. Okay, our supervisor of assessments, come on down.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think last time we spoke, I was hoping to have everything done and completed, and we're pretty much on the way. The new 2023 assessed values after our quadrennial reassessment are now on the website. People will be getting their notices. We're sending out over 84,000 notices, so that should be going out in the next week. They're at the printer right now. They're being printed, and then they'll be sent to our mailer to get stuffed in envelopes and mailed out. So looks like the filing deadline will be October 13th. So if anybody wanting to file complaint with the Board of Review, will have till October 13th to do that. So we expect a lot of calls starting probably within the next week when individuals receive those notices.
Of course.
Everything will also be printed in the newspaper along with the preamble, and we put a little more information in the lead-in preamble this year because of what the housing market is doing. So just to kind of answer questions, we put a little brief note in there about some significant changes possibly in assessed values based off of what the housing market has been doing the last few years. So we've got that in there. So We had quite a few obstacles this year, a lot more than I anticipated, but we were able to overcome them. And the staff, especially with a few of our staff members being new, really appreciate the work that they did to get everything done on time. So we are on schedule. So hopefully the next month or two will be fairly easy, and then we'll go from there.
Very good, good. Any questions, comments? It sounds like you're making it very clear for the public, as well as though you mentioned that you have many new staffs in place, so that's good. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you.
All right, thank you.
I'm going to skip down to the Veterans Assistance Commission and then back to Treasurer. If you would come up, please.
Thank you very much. $7 million, we brought in $7 million new money, $47.8 million total money. We actually had 2 veteran service officers that went over $2 million in new money each. Last year, I believe we were the first one, to my knowledge, to have 2 VSOs go over $2 million in new money at the end of last year, but they've already broken that as of today. No walk-in Wednesday next month because most of us will be in training for continuing education in East Peoria, so they didn't want to put too much pressure on the 2 or 3 staff that's going to be remaining. Because we usually have about 30 or 40 walk-ins on walk-in Wednesday. So it's pretty busy. And this month we set, last month we set multiple records for forms done because as you've seen probably in the news, the PACT Act was ending. Okay. The confusion on that, it's not technically ending if you run into veterans. You can always file for the PACT Act. As if you filed an intent to file before August 10th of this year, it went back to August 10th of last year. Okay. Now they did extend it. I was submitting forms at 11:55 at night just because I wanted to save the date of claim that night, but then they extended it to August 14th. So you can still file PACT Act claims forever. It's just not going to go back to the date of the law. Okay. That's the confusion. Okay. So you basically get an extra year of back pay if you get service connected. That's all I have. 2 questions.
Are the veterans, they're usually aware of the information, any updates or changes you have?
The VA fortunately sent out a PACT Act law, and they were telling you call your county veteran service officer. So I think we had about 3,500 phone calls, and we had phone issues for a week, so 3,500 phone calls in about 3 weeks. Okay. It just never stops. We have 2 people up front trying to handle as much as just today. We had 12 voicemails at lunchtime, and that's at lunchtime. So. But yes, they are aware. Not everybody reads their mail. Great. But I went through all the files that we had that was in the Gulf War in Vietnam, and I reached out to them personally to try to save their data claim. That's why forms were up, because all you wanted to do was save their data claim, and then they have 1 year to come to us to file.
Good. And then my second question would be Meals on Wheels. I know I'm calling it Meals on Wheels. Is there such a program under the Veterans Group? Okay.
Not that I know of, but I'll look if there's something similar. I'll report back to you next month. I'll find something. Okay. It's a good question, though.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions, comments? Okay. Thank you so much. Okay. And I think that's it. Other than I would like for our treasurer to come up, and she has Nicole has a presentation for us as well as her report. So the floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Is there an overview? Are you going to? Okay. So I'm just going to give you a brief update of my office and what we do. The treasurer is the custodian of all the county funds. The treasurer deposits, invests, and reinvests public funds, prepares tax bills, and is the county collector of taxes. I am elected to a 4-year term. The primary functions of our office by state statute is banking, investments, tax collection, and disbursements. And then we have some non-mandated office functions. So keep going. Next. So as far as the banking and financial, we manage and reconcile 39 bank accounts, which equates to about 468 bank reconciliations a year. 13 of those are collector accounts that we have at various banks within the county. There's about 56 branches that collect taxes for us. As far as ACHs, those are transactions that are going out and coming in. So payments that from the sheriff and the JDC to different vendors, child support, things like that are the ACHs that are going out. And then we have some payments from the state that are coming into us for various things such as sales tax, income tax, things like that. So those are usually either recorded through a accounts invoice that we apply the payment to, or they're done by a journal entry. We also manage the procurement cards, which are the purchase cards. We have about 46 of them right now. We manage the obtaining the purchase card. We download the file from the bank every month so that all the departments who have these can reconcile their purchase card. If someone needs an increase in their purchase card limit, we do that, as well as close accounts of employees that have left employment with the county. Cash receipts, we take payments from or deposits from other departments within the county, and that also includes the satellite offices as well. And it's been a little bit of a challenge this year trying to get everybody on the same page with our new finance system and how all that works and ties out and balances. So that's been fun. We also do the checks for accounts payable, payroll checks, county motor fuel, etc. Finance prepares the batches for those, and then we finish the process as far as printing the checks and then posting them. JEs, or journal entries, we right now have about 646 journal entries out there in Munis, and about 90% of those are from the treasurer's office. Those are anything from our ATM accounts to our collector accounts to our daily banking transactions. Speaking of the daily banking transactions, I download a file every day from the bank, and that includes all the ACH payments as far as other deposits and checks too, and attach supporting documentation and then create their journal for that. We also help with the annual external audit as far as preparing confirmations and preparing work papers that the external auditors use. And then something new that we do for jury this year, they no longer print checks for jurors, they issue debit cards. And so in order to do that, there has to be a file that's uploaded to a third-party vendor who, once that's done, that money is put on the debit cards and the jurors can use that then. That takes away from us as far as having to do stale dated checks or worry if the check has cleared the bank or anything like that. That's all on that third party and not us. So after some initial glitches with the file, it's working out very well.
Mm-hmm.
Next. We're also in charge of the investments. This is the order of priority for investments. First is safety, then liquidity, and then finally yield. So safety of our funds, they have to be insured, collateralized, or they have to meet that $250,000 threshold. So that's the utmost priority. Liquidity, if we need it to spend on a project or something like that, we have to make sure that it's liquid. And then the yield is the final thing. Now, obviously, the last year or so, we're doing very well on interest rates. It would be nice if that would last for a long time. We'll see what happens. So in order to meet all those requirements, we do a mixture of CDs, which allow the banks to use that for projects within their community. We do agency bonds, treasury bonds, insured cash sweep accounts, and then just regular sweep accounts. We have a wonderful relationship with the bank, and so in some instances we're able to get better yields than we would if we just put it into a normal bank account. Next. Tax bills. We prepare and generate and print our tax bills. We get the tax extension certification from the county clerk, and then we perform treasurer setup, which sets the due dates, and then we balance back to the county clerk. We print about 300 test bills every year, and those test bills have something from every single taxing district, every single exemption, your garbage fees, all of that. And so we test all those, and they have to kind of manually be tested to make sure that they are calculating correctly. We do railroad bills. We have 6 railroad bills that we do annually as well. We receive, once we send out the bills, we receive about 2,000 tax bills back for bad addresses, and that can be they've moved and left no forwarding, or the forwarding's expired, or there's errors within the address, such as north was entered when it should have been south, or wrong zip code, or wrong city. We try and remail as many of those as we can, especially the ones that the forwarding is expired. The post office will usually put a yellow sticker on there with the forwarding address, but since it's expired, they won't put the forwarding, so we try and get the bill to them. But the bill is also on the website, so at any point in time, anybody can go out there and print their tax bill as well. Our mailing is done by a third party, and they combine exact addresses so that we're able to reduce our postage fees. And then we also have about 1,800 tax bills that are sent electronically. So those tax bills aren't even mailed. They get them electronically. We're hoping each year that we can increase that amount of electronic bills. We also do a tax deferral program that's through the state of Illinois, where people can defer their taxes. It's like a loan, basically. The state comes in and pays their real estate taxes at an interest rate. It's 6% right now. I believe it's going to be reduced for a couple years. But there is some requirements for that. We have about 10 participants right now, and when somebody sells their home or they pass, then that loan needs to be paid back to the state. We also do prepaid taxes in December. So anybody who wants to prepay their taxes can come to our office December 1st through the 31st and basically pay what they paid this year, and then we'll apply that towards their taxes for next year. And then if they pay too much, we'll send a refund. If it's too little, then they'll have to pay the remaining balance by the second installment due date. Next. There's several ways to pay your taxes. You can mail them. You can mail it straight to our office, or you can mail them to our post office box. If it's a post office box, our bank comes in and they collect the mail for us. They process the checks and then send us an electronic file. You can also pay at the bank. We have banks that do electronic submission, which was a program that I worked with IT on back in 2013. And basically, they enter the payments for us, and then when they hit submit, I get a text file and I can upload it into our real estate software system. This saves a lot of time, and there's no duplicate entry. It's just an upload. Electronic checks and credit cards, we do accept those. We'll be changing vendors on that next year, which will actually be very beneficial to our constituents. It'll offer more avenues of payment, such as PayPal and text to pay and things like that, so we're very excited about that. We also have township collectors. We had 9, but now we have 8 since we took over the collections for the city of Peoria. The township collectors only collect until the first installment due date, and then any interest that they collect, we distribute to the taxing districts within their township. The interest that the county collects, we distribute to all of the districts within the county. We're also, because we're larger, we can leverage our funds more effectively, and so there's more interest that we can distribute. In person, you can come to the courthouse. This year, I will say the first installment was crazy. I don't know why. We had so many people come in, and we had lines out to Bobby's office out that way, and a lot of cash. In 3 days, we took over almost $650,000 in cash, and we only have 3 stations and 1 currency counter, so it was nuts. We also do escrow payments. The largest one we've had so far had over almost 17,000 parcels in it for over $31 million. Next slide. The taxes are collected 1 year in arrears, so we are collecting 22 taxes payable in 23. That always kind of messes with people a little bit, especially people who've just purchased a home. They don't understand why they're paying 22 taxes when they didn't live there. So we have to explain how all of that works. You can see that we process thousands of batches through our tax cycle process. Also, the city of Peoria garbage fees, that's always a fun topic.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah. We also collect mobile homes. There's a privilege tax on mobile homes. We have about a little over 1,000 units in different parks, and it's a very transient population, so it's very hard to collect and hard to get the bills to the proper people. We try and work very closely with the parks, but even the ownership on parks is sometimes transient as well. Next one. Our tax distributions, we do 5 regular distributions a year, monthly except for the month of November when we hold our tax sale. And then we do our interest distribution in mid-December. They're all ACH to all 146 different taxing districts. At the beginning of the season, I send out a newsletter explaining when the distributions will take place so they know exactly when they're coming. And if they don't have their settlement sheet, I hear about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if sending a newsletter and letting them know when they're expected is a good thing or a bad thing. We also print redemption checks to tax buyers when people come in and redeem their taxes in the county clerk. The county clerk's office will send us a report, and based on that report and the checks that are in the system, we will send out the checks to the tax buyers, and so they get their money back when parcels are redeemed. Next one. We'll be holding our tax sale in November. It's November 6th this year. Last year, we sent out 5,177 certified notices. There are legal deadlines that have to be met as far as newspaper publication and certified notices. We also have a judgment day 1 week out from our tax sale where we go before the judge so that we're able to sell the taxes. Mm-hmm. We use what's called RAMS 2, which is used to be the tax sale was held in this room and everybody shouted an interest rate. And then the treasurer had to figure out who was first and who had the lowest. And then we went to all electronic where you sat at a computer and all day all you heard was the clicking of a mouse. And that was the lowest interest rate. Now what they do is they bring a flash drive to us and they put a percentage interest or interest percentage on the parcels that they want to purchase as far as taxes. And then the lowest one, once they get all of these flash drives uploaded, the lowest one wins. If there's a tie, then a winner is randomly chosen. The maximum for an interest rate is 9%. There's many tax buyers that would bid 0, hoping for the sub-taxes, which are at 12%. So I would say right now our tax sale average is less than 3% because of all the zeros. So, next slide. So we have several non-mandated office functions. We currently manage 3 active ATMs within the courthouse or county facilities. We have 1 at the courthouse, 2 out at the jail. We had 1 out at Huntington Oaks, but obviously that one is no longer there. It's in my vault in the treasurer's office. Maybe when the health department is done, we can look at possibly putting out an ATM machine there. We manage our web pages, or at least the ones that we can. If it's complicated, that's on Gretchen. And then I'm a board member of the City of Peoria Land Bank, so there's a lot of activity going on there within the City of Peoria limits. We do petty cash and we give change to the public for parking meters or whatever else they need, like the vending machines. I perform the commissary audit for the Sheriff's Department. We provide notary services, and then we do the parking deck collections as well. The next one is the slide of my staff. So it's me. I have a chief deputy treasurer. I have been here with the county for 25 years. 23 of it's been in the treasurer's office. I was appointed in 2017, elected in 2018. My chief deputy, her 6-month anniversary was May 31st, so relatively new.
Congratulations.
I have a deputy treasurer who has 27 years with the county, 15 years in my office. I have another one who's been here since May 15th. And then I have a bookkeeper, 21 years with the county, 14 years in my office. And I now have, unfortunately, a vacant position as of last night. So if any of you happen to know a bookkeeper that would like a job, the job is posted, so please have them apply.
Okay.
So, I'd be happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Okay. Any questions? Matt? I think Jimmy will be right back. He just stepped out. I do have a question in regards to, I had a lot of questions. Good information. Thank you. In regards to the monthly resolution list, would you kind of talk a little bit about that? I know every time we meet, we have we would have a resolution on that, and it's in regards to delinquent taxes. So would you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So one of the tax buyers at our tax sale is the Peoria County trustee, and the trustee ends up being the tax buyer for all those parcels that are not sold to a regular tax buyer.
Mm-hmm.
So when the trustee is a tax buyer, they do not give money up front. They hit their money when the parcel is either redeemed or it's sold at the annual auction. So the annual auction was just held. The final day was this past Friday. And so the auction is actually county trustee-owned properties that are for sale. It's not just the taxes, they're actually for sale through this auction. So once those parcels have been purchased and paid for in full, and then the county board get the resolution to actually have a tax deed recorded from the trustee to the buyer.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what you're doing here. These people have paid in full their obligation through the auction. And so now you're saying, okay, yep, we agree that you've done your due diligence, you've done what you're supposed to do, and so now you're able to transfer title.
Okay, yeah. So therefore, the account names that we see, those are the individuals who have actually completed this process?
Yes. Yeah. So like
Okay.
in this case, what's up here, the Village of Glassford and the City of Peoria have paid at least the minimum bid, if not more, to obtain this property from the trustee. They were
And so
successful
the
bid.
breakdown is where we see the dollar signs, that's who has paid out these various monies, such as
Yes.
the total collected and so on.
Yeah, so there's a minimum bid,
Okay.
and so the trustee gets their share of the minimum bid, and anything above that goes to the county clerk or the auctioneer. It used to be a live auction
Mm-hmm.
held at the Packard Plaza, and now it's a sealed bid. So now people come to our office, or they can go online and do a sealed bid instead of doing a live auction.
And where we see the agent, who is that? Who is the agent?
The agent would be the trustee.
The trustee. Mm-hmm. And of course, the treasurer is you.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, good to know. Good information. Matt, you have any questions, comments? Yeah.
Nice shoes.
Oh, and I might have missed it at the beginning. What is your staff? Surely your staff is much larger.
Oh, no.
than- no. Oh, you
No,
all
we-
do a lot.
We have 6 total positions.
Okay.
As of last night, we now have 5 filled,
Okay.
and we have 1 vacancy.
So obviously a lot of automation.
We're trying. We're
Okay.
trying. There's been a lot of learning curve with Munis because we are heavily involved in Munis,
Okay.
which is our new finance system. And then we tried with the collection process as far as we can to upload files from the banks and our lockbox from the mail that we receive so that we don't have to key in everything.
Mm-hmm.
It all depends on how many people come in our office, and even uploading a file, you can still have somebody who paid in full that had an escrow,
Mm-hmm.
and the escrow came first, and so we have to do refunds. We usually do several hundred refunds a year because of just escrow payments. You know, they didn't realize they had an escrow, or if they've forgotten an exemption or something like that, then the supervisor of assessments will do a corrected bill,
Mm-hmm.
and so then we have to refund that as well.
Good to know. Yes.
So we do a lot with
I
very
see.
little.
Yes, yes. Any other comments, questions? Yeah. Oh, there's Jimmy over there. Okay, well, thank you. We've been looking I have, and I'm sure Matt has too. I've been looking forward to your report, and as time goes along, I'm sure we'll think about some things that you presented as well as many of the others, and pull you aside and ask other questions. Thank you so much.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Okay. And I believe that completes our informational items. Let us move on to our resolutions and resolution. And we have the link for delinquent taxes for the month of July 2023, as well as for August 2023. I need a motion and a second. Matt and Jimmy. Okay. Any comments, questions in that regards to, we're talking about the delinquent taxes. Any comments, questions? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed? There are none. Okay. Any public comments? None. Miscellaneous? What was the question? I'm sorry, the press. Oh, let me see. Thought I had it. I need to reach out to you. I know I've had it here. Do you have it, Scott, by chance? Are you able to pull it up?
I don't have it off the top of my head.
I'll
but
send it to you.
it's, Madam Chair, it will not be next month, because next month we'll be doing budget.
Say it again.
Next month we'll be doing budget, so it will not be next month.
So you, as well as Elizabeth, will be moved back a little bit further. Thank you for asking. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions, comments? Okay, this meeting has been adjourned. Thank you.